Hi guys, what you are about to listen to is a recap of 221BCon 2023, which we recorded the weekend after con. And then, due to how busy we got in the next few weeks, we just weren't able to get it up online. And to be honest, while we were recording it, I was also super tired. So it took a long time to edit out all the that I did edit out. You're welcome. Trust me. Anyway, so when it gets to the end, especially, you're gonna hear some things that are old because we are on Apple Podcasts now. We already interviewed, you know, Ken Ludwig and Ashley Polisek and the cast for Ken's play Moriarty, the original cast, and Daniel Davis. And if you haven't listened to all of those episodes, please go back and listen to them because they were all amazing conversations. And really quickly, I am going to make a plug. I do it later on in the recap itself near the end, but please consider supporting us either on Patreon or Ko-fi, or even consider sponsoring us. It would just be such a huge help because doing a podcast, doing a nice job of it, it's not cheap. Any support you could send our way would be so welcome. If you enjoy the show, please consider it. We would really appreciate it. And now, on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dynamics of a Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to Professor James Moriarty, Napoleon of Crime and Arch Nemesis of Sherlock Holmes. I'm Madeline Quinones, and I'm joined by my lovely co-host,
Dixie Parkinson.
And today we are just talking about 221BCon. This is the recap episode, and also a bit of a coda to our panel at Con, which we didn't actually talk about what adaptations to inserting Moriarty into canon stories. I mean, a little bit, but not a whole lot. It just ended up being audience members, 3 in particular, giving a lot of ideas. And that was lovely, actually. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And Dixie got her first serious taste of cod.
Yeah.
So Dixie, what'd you think?
Oh, it was great fun. Everyone there seems so nice. It seems like it would be a great place to just go hang out with a lot of other fans there.
Yeah.
But hopefully maybe next year I can be there in person.
That'd be so nice.
But either way, it was just lots of fun to finally be part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I had people tell me that they want to meet you.
Really? Oh.
Yes. So that would be awesome. And then we'd have to come up with another panel idea, clearly. So let's be thinking about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, huge thanks to Ashley Polisek and Heather Hinson. Heather ran the microphone around the audience, which was a ginormous help.
Yeah.
Ashley agreed to do the panel when I asked her to, literally the night before, like only about 12 hours before. And she provided the Wi-Fi hotspot that allowed us to actually connect to Zoom in the first place. I'm so grateful to them both.
Yeah.
This was a team effort. If I'd done this on my own, I mean, if it had been just the two of us, it could have been a bit of a disaster. Clearly, I didn't really know what I was doing, which I was kind of afraid was going to be the case. Well, also it was in the morning. It was first thing in the morning. I was so tired. I was part of the crowd who'd been in the room for karaoke like well past 1 a.m. That was Friday night, Saturday morning. But
so how much sleep did you get?
Not much. Not much. But also it was like, this is a mistake, but at the same time, I'm not here to sleep.
Yeah.
But clearly I got to get more sleep the night before this panel. But yeah, it's funny. I don't know how well you heard Beth Gallego because she did not have a microphone on her. But she was like, well, it's not like you haven't done anything. This past weekend, that was when I was like, yeah, I have done nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, yeah, but that was a lot of fun. And I'm also very grateful to everybody who showed up in the first place.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful to everybody who put forth ideas. Curtis had some great ideas, Curtis Armstrong. I don't know how well you could hear his first idea because that was before the microphone was in play. But
no, I could still hear him then.
Okay, yeah, talking about like Moriarty using Selden in Hound of the Baskervilles. And I'm like, that's brilliant. I never made that kind of connection before. So that was a lot
Yeah, he had a lot of great ideas.
Yeah, and David McAllister and Steve Mason, they rounded out the trio of people who were just generating ideas like that, and it was great.
We'll have to steal some of those ideas for when we do our episodes about those particular stories.
Absolutely. And then I was so glad when Lion's Mane came up because I was like, oh, that's yours. I mean, we were already talking super soldier serum at that point, so like
yeah, Moriarty might as well be breeding jellyfish.
That was great. That was a great hour, and I very much enjoyed it. And I'm so grateful to everyone who made it possible, including the con staff. Thank you. Hopefully, if we ever do this again, I'm going to be better prepared. So, oh my gosh. But also, we had badge ribbons, and I actually handed out about half of them.
Nice.
I had 100 made. So about 50 Moran ribbons out in the world floating around is not bad. I maybe handed out about half of the bookmarks. I didn't keep as close a tally on those. But everybody really loved the bookmarks. Curtis was like, this is really good. I'm just like, oh, thank you. So yeah, that was very exciting. There also, did you see the cosplayers?
I couldn't see their costumes well, but I could see they were in costume.
Yeah, so they were doing Moriarty in the crown with the cape and scepter.
Oh, and, nice.
And then Moran, like Fannin Moran.
Yeah.
And it was great, and I got a couple of pictures of them, and I'm going to post them to the website with the show notes. So that was so cool.
We had Moriarty at our Moriarty panel.
Yeah, it was wonderful. So that was our podcast panel, and that actually came close to the end of the weekend. I mean, it was Sunday morning, but I got in Thursday night, and I was so proud of myself. I didn't get turned around. I didn't get lost. I got straight to the hotel. No mishaps. There was that last time that I filled up on gas, and then I was like, oh, it's hitting me. I've been on the road since 7:30. It was 6:30. It was about 6:30, and I'd been on the road for 11 hours at that point.
Oh.
I mean, it was, including stops. It was a 12-hour journey total.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got there and had dinner, and actually I had the house salad. So I was like, I'd eaten lunch kind of late, and it was Taco John's. It was Taco John's. I was so happy. The context to that being that Taco John's is my favorite fast food, and we lost our local one about a year ago. So I'm really happy to be able to get to a Taco John's on the road when I can. But that was kind of sitting heavy in my stomach for a while. So I was like, I need something light. So I had the house salad, and it was a darn good salad. Holy cow. That was like the best salad of my life. And yeah, got to start seeing friends. And speaking of seeing friends, Paul Thomas Miller was there. Oh. So Paul is a Holmesian in the UK. He's from Portsmouth, which is where Doyle started writing Sherlock Holmes. And Paul is the sole member of the Shingles of Southsea, and the Shingles of Southsea do not allow any other members. And he holds meetings on Zoom. We love Paul. He's also a member of the John H. Watson Society, and he's been a regular contributor to the Watsonian Weekly podcast, like almost since the beginning. So that's been like 4 years now-ish. And he was finally able to make it to 221BCon, and it was so exciting, and everybody was so happy to see him, including Rich Christianis, it was also Rich's first time at con, but it was really funny because there's a playful grudge between Rich and Paul for reasons. You should look up Shingles of Southsea is he on YouTube? Just look up Shingles of Southsea online, and you can find out more, because I hate to explain the joke. But 221BCon is a good place for a lot of inside jokes. A lot of, it's a community. It really is a community. And so there's a lot going on. And it was so nice. And it was also weird because this is such a weird problem to have. And really, it means that I'm blessed. I'm tremendously blessed, but it's a weird problem to have when you have so many friends that they don't all hang out together, and you're constantly trying to ping from one group to the other. And it makes it even harder when they aren't all congregating in the bar. It's a whole lot easier if they are, but that wasn't happening so much this year. And so Con Drop ended up hitting me a little, actually Sunday night, which is terrible. But Paul had left. Beth Gallego also had to leave early. So, already a little bit blue about that. And then I didn't get the chance to say goodbye to a few more friends. So that doesn't make you feel any better.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, it's awkward to be crying while you're driving on the interstate.
Oh.
It's not fun. But there was like the last refuge of Con in the bar Sunday night around the couch and the coffee table, which is it's a very good spot if you can claim it for your own, because it's like one of the spots in the restaurant. It's technically the restaurant area that will hold like a lot of people. So it's a good place to like claim for your own and then pull in people. So that was nice. We just chilled there for like a long time. And then finally I'm like, well, you know what? Should get going, because got a long drive to start early in the morning. But yeah, sorry, this recap is all out of order. I didn't see a lot of panels. I probably was on as many panels as I actually went to see. I saw half-seas of at least a couple. So there was the Women of the Adaptations panel that I shared with professional novelist Kelly Z. Riley, and she actually has a series of mystery novels involving a chemist who I think her last name is Watson, and she has a cat named Sherlock, which I need to check out those books because they sound really fun. But we talked a lot about, mostly about, well, no, we went all over the place on that panel, but it was a lot of fun. We did talk a lot about the woman in BBC Sherlock, especially. And I was like, we got to talk about Sally Donovan. We got to. So we did, and that was great. And we talked about Mary, and actually we didn't dwell for very long on Molly, but positive Molly vibes, which is good.
Good.
And about Enola, and we also talked about Jamie Moriarty, and about, oh my gosh, I'm forgetting her real name now. Enola Holmes too.
Mira Troy.
That's it. It's like it's on the tip of my tongue. Mira Troy, yeah. All in all, it was as appreciative a panel and audience as I was hoping it was going to be. So it was just really nice. I really enjoyed doing that. And I'd been so nervous about it. So I was really glad that it came off so well. And then I was also on the Sherlock Holmes and the Public Domain Free at Last panel. And apparently this was actually one of the throwback panels, sort of. Or at least this was the latest iteration of the panel. There's been a Sherlock Holmes and the Public Domain panel before. And I was on this one with David McAllister and Ira Mitetsky, both of whom are lawyers. So I was the odd one out. David's done the panel before, and he was like, well, in the past, there's been a lot of people like wondering, how their works stand legally with all the copyright and public domain issues. But this time it was basic. Ira gave a great history of the copyright of the canon and how weird it actually is, has been, and then why the casebook took so long to come into the public domain. And I mean, we kind of, a lot of people know that it's kind of Disney's fault, but it was a great start that he gave. Ira is such a good scholar. Mm-hmm. David was like, this was great. I didn't have to do anything. But it was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot. And we talked about trademark, which is a trickier area. And it was just a really good panel, and it went really well, and we ultimately had a lot of people show up to that one, which was good. It is tricky having panels in the evening because you are going to lose people to having dinner.
Yeah.
Which is going to be at least an hour in the hotel restaurant. You're lucky if you can get it if your whole dinner experience takes only an hour in the restaurant in the evening, because it's just very busy. So there was that. There's also, I'm still pinging around. I'm just kind of like going to what I'm remembering. But, speaking of Ira being on panels, he and Shana Carter did a panel about the BSI, ASH, and other Sherlockian societies. And it was a really good talk between the two of them. They talked about the history of the BSI and ASH, and they talked about other societies. And then what really sticks in my memory is that Ira closed out the panel with a reading of 221B by Vincent Starrett. And I almost cried. I don't know, something about it just really hit home. So that was lovely. Trying to remember. I mean, I made it to the Sherlock panel, got to see it all the way this time. That was great. It was smaller than last year's, but there were a lot of people who weren't able to come this year for a variety of reasons. I got to see the first half of Marilyn McKay's talk about syphilis in the canon, which the first half of it is actually her setting it up, giving the historical context and the facts about it, and it's kind of scary how widespread actually it was in Victorian London. So basically I missed most of the canon part of the talk, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I at least got to see part of it. She's great. I love her. Friday night there was karaoke. I wasn't able to make it up, and I think that I must have done something wrong in trying to sign up for a song. But that's okay, still had fun. Ira started us out with the rock song Baker Street, which was a lot of fun, and he was a hit. Shayna Carter did a song that I hadn't heard before, and but she was great, did dance moves and everything. Brad did Viva Las Vegas. That was so much fun. But I got most of it on video.
Good.
But yeah, I actually, what happened was I actually felt very young. Listen to a lot of these songs that either came out before I was born or when I was a kid, because we definitely weren't listening to, I definitely wasn't listening to the pop songs of the 90s.
Yeah.
So I knew almost nothing. I was so happy when Shake It Off came up. I was like, yes, finally a song I know. And it's a pop. Just, that was a lot of fun because of course, you can sing along with whoever's up on stage at the microphone. And basically, like, all my friends pieced out before the end of it. Shayna and I stuck around until the end. Why have you gotten blurry?
I moved and it's lost focus. Okay, now it's back to normal. Luckily, it's not on video, so if my camera
but we should
misbehaves,
totally
no one will know.
because it's funny. Why are you blurry? But anyway, yeah, karaoke was still fun. And let's see, the next night there was ballroom dancing and the dance party, and I ended up deciding that I was too tired to even try the ballroom dancing. And I already knew I wasn't gonna do the dance party because that involves flashing lights, and that'll trigger a migraine in me. So I wasn't gonna do that. I mean, I can watch flashing lights on screen for the most part and be okay, but if I'm surrounded by it, I'm just like, no, I can't do that. But a lot of us ended up congregating in Mrs. Hudson's room, which is this big room. That's where the TARDIS is.
Oh yeah.
And the little Baker Street sitting room setup is nearby the TARDIS. So you can actually sit down in the very comfy armchairs and the TARDIS is humming behind you. And that's so incredibly soothing. And that was just fun hanging out there. Brad tried to get Paul to do his segment for the Watsonian Weekly live, and that did not work out. But I highly recommend everybody go listen to the con episode of the weekly. I'll have it in the show notes, because that was like as straight a taste of con as you can possibly get from like multiple recordings. It was wonderful. Very funny. Poor Paul was just so dead tired. He never, I think, actually adjusted the time difference. So the whole time he was just still on home time. Poor guy. Which reminds me, we went to Waffle House. We had a Watsonian Waffle House expedition. And it was an expedition because we actually went quite a ways out of town. And so that was the time that I got turned around. But that was a lot of fun. 6 of us drove out to a Waffle House, and it was also Brad Kefauver's first time at Waffle House. It was a lot of fun. It was also my first time having Waffle House hash browns, actually. And there's like a whole bunch of ways you can have your hash browns. You can have them with jalapenos, and you can have them just like all these different kinds of things. And I found out that like you can get your hash browns topped with chili. And I'm like, chili on top of fried potatoes? Sign me the heck up for that. So it was so good. I was so happy. On the other hand, my chocolate chip waffle almost made me sick. I was like, oh, that was more chocolate chips than I was expecting. Paul had a bowl of grits. It was his first time having grits, and that was very amusing. But yeah, Brad was like, oh my gosh, all these options for things. It was a lot of fun. You should definitely try to do that again. But that was also definitely, by the time we actually got there, it was brunch. It wasn't breakfast anymore. So yeah, I'm not thinking of too many other things the food truck food was fun, but I am not thinking of any other things really that I got to. Oh, wait. There was Sherlock Holmes and Dinosaurs. I got to see the Asylum movie for the first time. Let me tell you, doing it at con in a room full of people, most of whom have seen this movie before, was a great experience. Doing it with a bunch of other people in person was probably the best way for me to do it, like, at all, because like oftentimes if I watch a movie on my own, I will at some point like pause it to get up and like, I don't know, get more water or something.
Yeah.
It was a good way to keep me in my seat for the whole thing. And it was such a goofy movie. But it was so much fun because clearly, I have seen some bad Sherlock Holmes movies. And part of the problem is that they take themselves seriously. And it's like, I cannot take you seriously. This one, it's not asking you to take itself seriously. It doesn't take itself seriously. It's like, why does he need the T-Rex, the Jurassic Park Velociraptor sized T-Rex in the first place? No one knows.
And how did the dinosaurs look?
I think that's probably where a lot of the budget went. Why the Kraken? Why the Kraken? Yeah, it was very, very silly, and so it was a lot of fun. And also we had the hotel comes up with special cocktails for con. They're all named after Basil Rathbone movies. 2 of them were just way too acidic. They had lemonade or lemon juice in them, and I was just like, okay, this one is actually trying to kill me. One of them, like, I was drinking and it just like, it made my jaw hurt. This is too much lemon. This is way too much lemon. So it was the Red Claw, which was like, I'm forgetting now. peach snaps was the strongest flavor in the Red Claw, and it was also not acidic, thank God. So that's the one that I had the most, and they had what were they called? The adult sippy, no, the adult Capri Suns. That's what it was. Because they were these plastic pouches. They kind of looked like blood bags, actually. And then you pierce them with a straw and you sip. But it's a great way to be able to take your drink around. That was a lot of fun. So yeah, so I had a Red Claw with me, watching Sherlock Holmes and Dinosaurs. I think probably a lot of people had one of the cocktails, because that's definitely a movie that you're gonna drink with. You know what? You know, it was a great panel. They're not actually sitting down, so your mileage may vary about how much of a panel it actually is. But Curtis and Ashley did a talk again, and it was a great talk because this time they were talking about the casebook of Sherlock Holmes. They were talking about rehabilitating it. And something that I hadn't known, I knew that the casebook, when you get it in book format, it's not in publication order. I knew that. I didn't know just how much Doyle had actually messed with the publication order when putting it in book format. And so part of their argument for rehabilitating the casebook was to read it in the actual order of publication, because that changes things a lot. And it was a great time. Curtis is not having it with the Three Gables, though, and not just for the racist beginning, but apparently, like, Isadora Klein isn't even enough to rehabilitate him. I'm like, dude, she's so great, though. But it was really funny, and he kept going off about it. And to be fair, he had a good reason for it, which is, and it's something that, yes, has also bumped me out of the story, but Holmes gives this obituary to Douglas Maberly, and it's like, dude, what the heck? It's not Holmes. So it's very weird. It's like, not only do you have the racism issue, you also have this super out of character moment for Holmes, like grieving for Douglas Maberly, and it's like, okay. And I actually have an answer to that, which I need to post on Twitter. I need to be like, Curtis, I've got it. I've got the answer to this. But it was really funny because, like, at the end when they were accepting questions, Paul was like, so how do you feel about the Three Gables? So much fun. But yeah, they want to actually, because the casebook is now in the public domain. So literally, what this actually means, okay, is that anybody who wants to republish the entire canon actually can do that. And that includes the casebook. So what they want to do is they want to publish their own edition of the casebook specifically. And
in the publication order.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, and then they'd have like an introduction to each story also. And I'm just like, this is a fantastic idea. I want this. Let me illustrate it. So we'll see what happens. But the Curtis and Ashley edition of the casebook, it sounds like, is something that will definitely happen. So I really look forward to seeing that.
And is Curtis going to be writing the introduction to the
Hopefully Ashley is. Also, they were in Scottish dress. It was amazing. Curtis had the Armstrong tartan. Ashley had the tartan from the university that she went to in Scotland, and they even had cindews, which is a cindew is a kind of Scottish knife, and it's like, I think it's the one that you wear in your sock, in your stocking rather. It's a stocking that you have. But they were beautiful. That was a lot of fun. And then I actually missed our last bow panel because I was hanging out with the two of them and Ira and then Shanna also in the bar, and they were talking more about publishing the book, and I was like, I'm not missing out on this talk. No way, Jose. Oh, but actually there was one other panel that I went to that was called 221 Becon Turns 10. So it was just a retrospective of the con's history, and it was just really lovely. There were a lot of feels. Somebody had put together a video of con throughout at least the last few years, and that was really nice. And that was just a lovely panel. There was a lot of emotions, and I think that basically covers most of what I went to. Like, I missed a lot. It's just you're just gonna miss a lot because there's lots of panels going on all at the same time, and then you also need to get food at some point. So that's a thing. But also there was the dealer's room, and as I told you before I got started, I got buttons. I got some very cute little buttons. And I also, Brad and Beth were manning a table where they were selling some of Brad's and Paul's books, and also back issues of the Watsonian. But also he'd done something that was so lovely, which was compiled, like, I think it was like all his blog posts about con over the years into this pretty little red book. So it was basically a 10th anniversary celebration of con, and he gave copies to all the con directors, and then
that's nice.
yeah, and then also handed out free copies to everyone who wanted one. He's like, I'm not a salesman, just take take these books off my hands. But yeah, it was really lovely. I should have asked him to sign my copy, but I'll see him in St. Louis. But yeah, dealer's room, a lot of neat stuff. I got my con shirt, which I'm not wearing right now because that's in the laundry. It's a white shirt, so I can only do it with specific clothes. But the badge and shirt art this year was just absolutely beautiful. Oh, and then there's the silent auction that they have every year, and I don't know if that always benefits the Beacon Society, but it definitely benefited the Beacon Society this year, which is a society dedicated to teaching kids about Sherlock Holmes and giving teachers and librarians the tools and the financial support to teach kids about Sherlock Holmes. So very worthy cause. And I won a handful of Nicholas Meyer books, including the 7% Solution, which I actually hadn't had before, so I'm very excited about that. And also Michael McClure's Sherlock Holmes and his Baker Street Irregulars board game. So I'm really excited about that because I've always wanted, I say always, I've wanted that game for a while now. I also got, just buying them off of Brad's and Beth's table, I got a couple of Paul's books and got him to sign them for you, which was really nice. It includes the book with Sherlock Holmes and Elephant. That's Paul Thomas Miller in a nutshell. I feel like that tells you everything you need to know right there. And then he wrote a monograph about this. But yeah, just all in all, it was a lot of my personal experience was a lot of me trying to hang out with everybody, which didn't always work. But by golly, I gave it the old college try. So it was really lovely, and I miss people, and I already want Con to be now. I want it to be right now. And also, I want you to be with me next time.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of shenanigans, a lot of fun. It really is just a good, you just want, the more you're there, the more you just want to hang out with your people. And the panels don't matter so much. Like, I just went to the ones where I really, really wanted to like talk about things. So yeah, that was a good time. I recommend it for anybody who wants to come. Con is definitely smaller now than it was a few years ago, because I guess the original one was like 700 something people. This
Mhm.
year, I guess there was about 400. And I mean, I'm not sure if that was bigger than last year's or not. It really looked like it was kind of about the same. But I strongly encourage anybody to come who, has the time and can afford it, and it's not as expensive as a lot of events can be. And especially if you use the food truck, you should definitely use the food truck, because that helps the con. But yeah, it's like, yes, this is a smaller con than it used to be, but like the community is still here. And even if you are a first timer, you can still become a part of that community. And that's the really lovely thing. Like, if you're a newbie, you are still welcome. It's just really nice. It's a lot of fun and a lot of laughs. It's very, it can be very boisterous. But, like on Sunday evening, Brad was like, I gotta get out of here. Let's go out to eat. And I was just like, there were a couple of people who went with him. I was just like, I am here to be here for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Like, Waffle House on Friday morning was one thing, but like for everybody who's still left, this is where everybody is, and I don't want to leave them. So, yeah, we should definitely figure out another panel. Because I think ultimately we got maybe about 15 people showing up to it.
Mhm.
I should look back at the video, but it seemed like there was about that many.
Yeah.
Which isn't bad for, for a podcast for which I'm not even sure how many people listen in the first place. Quick shout out to Brad and also Beth for being our first patron. Hey, see, I'm screwing it up already. I haven't even said the wrong word, and I'm screwing up the right word. But that Brad and Beth are our first patrons. Did I say that right? Did I get it right that time?
It'll do.
Okay. Patrons on Patreon, which we have a Patreon, patreon.com/dynamics of a podcast. You can sign up at the $1 level, which gets you no rewards, but does allow you to get things like supercuts. Like, by the time we post this episode, our panel episode will have posted. So I don't know if how much Future Me has decided to edit that panel. But special things. So check us out, please, and see if you are willing to support us, because this is not cheap, and any financial help you can give us is greatly appreciated. And also I think somebody told me it was Ko-fi. There's our Ko-fi account.
Yeah. Which is Ko-fi /Dynamics of a Podcast, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. So there's that. And also, again, I'll just throw this out there. If you want to support us through having us do a commercial for you, we are also open to that. Give us an email at dynamicsofapodcast@gmail.com. We would be more than happy to do that at the top of the episode. Yeah, as of this recording, I still have not set us up on Apple Podcasts, but one of these days I'm actually going to do that. I've just got a lot going on, which involves getting our next 2 episodes set up, which are going to be big ones. I will be going to Cleveland to see Ken Ludwig's Moriarty play. I'm really excited about that. And that's going to be a very special episode. So stay tuned for that. And also, as of this recording, I don't have final confirmation yet. So I can't ask yet, but we will hopefully be having a super special guest coming up. And truly
Yeah.
talk about this. Oh, but stay tuned for that. We've got some neat stuff coming up.
Yeah.
The little podcast is growing up. I still feel like I'm missing something. If you haven't ordered your copy yet of Baker Street Almanac 2023, you should. I just got mine in the mail, and it's so neat. It's really, really neat. And my art in it looks really, really good. I'm very happy about that. Very excited. And of course, there's St. Louis coming up in July, Homes in the Heartland. I think registration for it is still open. So if you can, come to St. Louis in July. It's going to be fun. I'm not thinking of anything else. I don't know. Do you think I've covered everything?
Yeah, I think you have.
Impressive. I am so tired. I really wish I could sleep this is the weekend after con. I have not yet got enough sleep. I really just need like a whole week to sleep. But that's not going to happen. So thank you all for listening. Thank you again to everybody who came to our panel and participated. And to everybody who wanted a ribbon or a bookmark. And who liked the bookmarks. Those are really popular.
Oh.
It's like, I worked so hard on those. It wasn't just designing them, it was also printing them out and cutting them. So, and actually printing them out was a lot of work. I need to get a better printer. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I hope that next year we can do a panel at con. If anybody has any ideas, let us know. Follow us on Twitter, Dynamics of a Pod, Facebook, Dynamics of a Podcast. And you guys will hear from us soon. So thank you for listening, and bye.
Yeah, bye.
Dynamics of a Podcast was created by Madeline Quinones, with sound design and editing by Dixie Parkinson, and music by Joshua Harvey. We do this podcast purely for the fun of the thing. Thank you for listening, and please join us next time.